Let me put this fan off. Hey guys, so locals finished. I came fifth, which is crazy because there was 5 rounds. So round 1 to 4, I'm undefeated. So I'm 4-0. We go into round 5. In round 5, I'm the only player with a record of 4-0. And like clockwork, always my round 5 somehow I just do bad in. I lose my round 5 and I come fifth, which is it's still crazy that I get knocked right out of top 3 with that record. But congrats to Mulland. He won today playing RB of all decks, and it was his first ever locals win. And top 5 is still a top, I guess. It's not top 3, but I really enjoyed my games. And today I saw there were some issues and tweaking that I can make in this deck that I'm looking forward to doing. I'll run through the deck really quick, and I'll then go ahead and talk. I'll then go and talk about the changes I will make into the deck rather. And then at the end, I'll run through my matches and how they were and what I found was the issues, which is making me put these changes that I'm thinking of into the deck and side deck. So played branded Dracotail. I do believe that this is the best deck in the format. I actually don't. I do believe Vanquish Soul K9 might still be the strongest deck in the game right now. But I enjoy the playstyle of this Dracotail deck. I enjoy how it interacts. I enjoy the gameplay. It really is a very expressive deck where you can express your skill as a duelist as opposed to expressing how well you know a spreadsheet. Like for example, Malice was not a very expressive deck. There were only a very few interactions where you could really show your skill as a player. But it was a very much a spreadsheet deck where you normal Dormouse add this to play around X, Y, and Z. If you have this, you add this, or you banish it, etc. So let's go through the deck. For the monsters, 3 Lucaeus, 3 Famina, 3 Molulu, 1 Can. This is standard. You'll always play this. This is Dracotail, so you would want these names. I see some people playing 2 Frixel, and today, ironically, the second Frixel came up, but it's nowhere near important enough to play 2. I do believe 2 is a very big brick in this deck, but it does come up where the second Frixel matters. So I would recommend players to always put the Frixel back when they use their traps. That's something I didn't do, and that's something I learned today, to put Frixel back into the deck off the first trap, because the second trap will put the trap and then recycle. I played 2 Pan, 1 Urgula. This second Pan I found was not that great. I actually like this number a little bit more, 1-1, as opposed to 2-1 or 3-1 or 3-1 or 2-2. So the Pan may potentially get cut going forward. And then the spells, 3 Ketu, 3 Rahu, and then the traps, 1 of each. This is Dracotail. This is the traps. They help you in advancing your game. You play all of them. You do side deck 1 or 2 out, dependent. Normally the first one I take out is the Horn because it's quite easy to play around, but these 2 are a little bit harder to play around. But yeah. So that's the main core. Then the branded engine, 1 Albaz, 2 branded fusion, 2 virtuous. This is absolutely 2. The next thing, Albaz, do you play 1 or do you play 2? I see some people side decking the second one. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. Albaz, I feel, is very awkward of a card to draw in hand, and today, if drawing these 4 cards were a job, I'd be employee of the month. I drew one of the traps or multiple traps and Albaz, I think every single game. So I don't think you should play more than one Albaz. However, in saying that, I've learned today that when you branded Fusion first, you normally send Albaz and Frixel. And you don't use the effect of, you send these two to make this guy, Albion. And you don't normally use the Albion effect because you will rather pop it off with Pian or fuse it off into Secretarion to get the Virtuous. But I made this and then someone bastilled my Albaz, which made it really awkward now because my branded fusion resolves, but I can't branded fusion again. So if they out the board, there's no way for me to second branded fusion. It's something that came up, but it's still not something that warrants playing 2 Albaz in the deck. I wish there was a way to shuffle Albaz into the deck with one of the branded fusion monsters. I don't know if there is one, but so far I didn't really come across one, or at least one that summons from the banished, because once Albaz gets banished, it does become awkward. The Volan and Virtuous again was the MVP today. Absolutely amazing card, ridiculously powerful, ridiculously strong. Great interruption because it's interruption and it's follow-up when you adding branded fusion to hand. So I absolutely loved this card a lot. And should you play 3 in the main? I don't think so, because it can get a bit bricky if you see too many of them. So I feel 2 is the right number, although today I did side in the 3rd. And it did come up in the game. But I don't think you should play 3 in the main. I think that's a bit overkill. And then 2 Super Poly. This was another MVP today. It just makes boards, because your turn 1 board is pretty strong. But if you're playing into a board, and let's say you don't draw any hand traps, you just draw all non-engine, which happens. A Garura assists in just making that board a little bit easier, or Super Poly assists in just making that board a little bit more comfortable and easier to OTK. And I did a really cool move today where I Super Poly'd in the battle phase to make Secretarion to kill for game, which is kind of cool. 3 Flua, 3 Ash. I only we'll go through all of them. And then 3 Nib. Here's the flex spot. Is do you want to play 3 Bell or 3 Droll in the main? So today I opted to put Droll into the side and put Bell into the main, because I felt Bell was a little bit better off a 1-for-1 trade as opposed to Droll, because sometimes 1 search is all they need to kill you. And Bell just is an awkward card that just some ways hits so many decks that make it really weird. Nib came in pretty clutch today. I nibbed a lot of people. I don't think you should play Nib at 2. Some people make the argument, play Nib at 2 so you don't see it. Like, yeah, you can see 3 Nib. Likewise, you can also see 2 Nib if you play it at a 2. It's just your chances are less likely. But Nib is what really assists you in clearing the board. And you want to draw into the Nib of the Flua, which makes sense why you play 2. But it's also nice to have the Nib in hand as a form of like a hand trap that you can recur, which was quite fun. I only flew out 1 person today throughout the whole tournament, which was crazy. And sadly for him, he normaled Beryl, and I'm like, Flua? And then he's like, okay, Link. Then he's like, okay, it's fine. And then it tries to move and do something. I'm like, no. Like, Flua, you still need to tell me if Flua's responding or you respond. And he's like, no, Flua's fine. I'm like, okay, cool, change second Flua. So that really took him by surprise. He got double Flua and writing was on the wall. So that's the main deck. It should be 41. I don't know exactly, but it should be 41 in the main. MVP cards, Fallen and Virtuous, Super Polys. Potential cuts in the deck is the Pan, can get cut, and maybe you want to cut the nib. I can see an argument to it, but I kind of like it. Going into the extra deck, people laugh that I still call this the side deck sometimes, but extra deck, 1 Gulamel, 3 Arthelions. The second Gulamel did come up, but it didn't come up often enough that warrants its place in the side in the extra deck. So I think this number is the correct ratio. I don't think you need to change anything. Mysterion, Secretarion. I never summoned Mysterion yet. I didn't really see an opportune time to summon it. Against the Mitsurugi game that I played today, I could have summoned Mysterion, but I just super polyed his board and then made it awkward enough for him to play through. Then we go Mud Dragon, Garura. This is your super poly targets. And then because I'm playing the Fallen and Virtuous and multiples, I play 2 Albion. Let me clean this up. I play 2 Albion, 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Lubellion. And then I also play Titiniclad. Now, I don't make this often, but you do use it, so it's definitely staying in the deck. However, I've never summoned this card, I've never used this card, and this card's effect is what? During the end phase. During end phase, if this card is in the grave because you're sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 Dogmatica or Fallen of Albas from your deck. I just use this to out Liger Dancer, but I never faced Liger Dancer. So, yeah. I think Titiniclad might be able to get cut. And I'll explain why I was looking for cards to cut and the reason that I feel these are cuttable. So Titaniclad, that's your branded engine, SP and Typhon. So there was the first time I ever had to make Typhon, and it's pushed me 1 turn. But it was so bad of a game state that it wasn't enough to win it. The truth is, when you summon Typhon, it is a losing battle, but in simplified game states, Typhon does win games. Let's go to the side deck. 3 Droll. This was for Mitsurugi or anything that adds a lot. I've never drawn Droll today. I never drolled anyone. 3 Bestials. I think 3 is good. 3 is the right number. Some people play 2, just play Mag and Druas, but I like the 3 Bestials. It assists in the... It assists. It also helps me because I'm good with Bestials, I guess, because I played them for so long. 3 Retaliating Sea. I put this in against a Doomsy player, and I never saw it, but that just goes to show, like, if you're siding this only against Dracotail, why are you? You're already playing Super Poly. You're already playing Horn. You're already playing Bell and Ash to stop the traps. You're playing Super Poly to get rid of their board. Do you feel you are not that good of a player, like with the deck, that you can't potentially put them on a skilled game as opposed to a floodgate game? That's the thing that I'm having the problem with Retaliating Sea. And then similar to Retaliating Sea is 3 Lancia. I put it in for Malice or anything that just randomly banishes a lot. And then I played Lightning Storms and the 3rd Virtuous. So that's the deck. And I'll go through my matches in a quickly. Game 1 was against my really good friend Mags. Again, he was on K9 Cyber Dragon. And so him and I had coffee during the week, and we sat and spoke and just spent some time chilling. And he told me like the issues he's having with his deck and the issues he was having against Dracotail. And I told him like all the things that I know about the deck, and it was a really enjoyable game. It was a very fun game. And game 1 I won. Game 2 I don't really remember actually how it went. It's either I won game 1 or I won game 2, but we did go into a game 3. And it was a very enjoyable game 3. It was very it wasn't really a back and forthy game 3, but it was a fun game 3. Like, it was a game where both players played the game. Not like one player just floodgated the other player out of the game. So that happened. Then game 2, I went up against a new guy. His name is Q. He's from Joburg. I won the die roll, so I go first, and I put the full board. 3 back row, the 3 traps, fallen and virtuous, a few monsters in the front end. I also had a hand trap or 2, and then he summoned barrel, tried to place lordly load, and then he tried to use lordly load, and I chain horn to bounce. I chain something. One of the traps, he ashes it, and then I chain another card, I think a horn, to bounce the ether, and Gulamel to pop the lordly load. And he just passed up over there. Game 2, I draw double Flua, so I Flua him twice, a double Flua on him. And it was so awkward because when you lose game 1 and you're under a Charmy, like, a part of you really feels like you have to put up a board because you don't want to just get too old. It's either you take the challenge and you lose and it is what it is, or you don't take the challenge and you lose and you sit with this regret like I should have just taken it. So understandably, he took the challenge. He set up his cards, and then he had 3 sets in the back row, and I'm like, right, time to shine. I nibbed him, nibbed his whole board. Then after I nibbed him, I Famenat fused into Gulamel. I used Dracotail Urgla to pop a set card. I used Urgla, and then I even forgot this card's name. The other fusion. Gulamel. So I used Urgla, pop 1, Gulamel, pop the other back row. So he was left with no back row. And then on my turn, I drew for turn. I normal summoned. Or I added Ketu or whatever. And then I used Ketu to pop another card. I popped the nib token, and then I just OTK'd him. Game 3 was a bit of a weird one. Game 3, I was going up against Tristan, who was on Fiendsmith branded K9. I don't know. Game 1, I OTK him. Game 1 was really weird. Game 1, he goes, I go branded fusion. He goes Ash. I'm like, cool, pass. He goes normal summon Izuna. I'm like, okay. Izuna effect, dump lupus. I'm like, okay. And he's like, battle phase. I'm like, okay. Izuna attack directly. I'm like, sure. Main phase 2. He's like, I'm like, it's fine, maybe. He's like, pass. I'm like, that's wild. Then I go drop a turn, branded fusion again. I'm like, hey, it was so good, let's do it again. Branded fusion. And he goes Ash, and I'm like, cool, pass. And he draws another card, unplayable again. He's like, okay, battle phase, he's gonna attack again. I'm like, cool, bro, I can't do anything. And then he's like, yeah, pass. And I'm like, yay me, I got 2 Izuna attacked directly. I draw Ketu Dracotail. And then I'm like, Ketu to add and fuse. And he's like, Ash. And I'm like, bro, Ash, 2 branded fusions and a Ketu. And I'm just there like, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. So eventually I'm like, I can probably take on one more Izuna attack. I don't really remember what I did, but eventually I build I just like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna build a board. And I do build a board, and then he goes lupus and stuff, and the lupus comes out, but I'm like, the lupus came out, but I popped the Phimena, so if he's going to try make something, he can only make the Typhon. He makes Typhon, and then I Mululu negate the Typhon. He switches Typhon to attack. He swings over a monster, makes Zeus, and then I don't even know what happened, but I won that game. I can't remember so well. Game 4 was against Aki. Game 1, his hand is a bit weird, unplayable, and then he attempts to end turn, pass turn, and I'm like, in the end phase, I have Phimena, and I'm like, wait, if I Phimena him, he can chain Flua, he can have talents, he can have thrust, and then one thrust, add ritual, add pre-prep, and I'm just dead. So I'm like, end phase, in thinking end of main, I'm like, end of main is fine, end phase is fine, switch over to my turn. I normal summon, and then he drops Flua, and I'm like, cool, Phimena. Once the Phimena hit, the fuse resolved. So the fusions were off, and I'm like, I didn't get hit with impulse. The only thing that stops me is rock. And if he doesn't have the rock, he doesn't have the rock. So I just pushed through for as quickly as I could for game. Go game 2, it was a really very grindy game, very fun game, back and forth. And he eventually beats me, so we go to game 3. Game 3, he fluas me, and then I chain Urgula. I chain Phimena. So I go Branded Fusion, he goes Flua, I then go Urgula. So I summon out my monsters. He draws 1, and then I go Rahu, and he ashes Rahu. And I'm just like, sure, that's perfect, because now I know he ashed the Rahu. He's not going to be able to ash my Dracotail horn that's set. Flame to negate the spell card. And I'm still under the Flua, so I'm like, bro, that's fine. I'll pass turn. You Flua me, it's okay. So he switches over to his turn. He goes draw phase, Flua. And I'm like, sure, he Flua'd himself, so he's going to get some draws. And then he goes Lightning Storm to hit my back row. And then I chain the Dracotail Flame to negate and put back and draw 1. I draw 1. I don't even remember what the draw was. And then he plays. He starts playing a little bit. And eventually Murukumo came, blew the board up and all of this stuff. And then he had 2 monsters on the board. And he was ready to go into battle. So I super poly him there, and I make the Gurura. And I also Fallen and Virtuous Popper monster. I super poly him. Eventually, it was like a really weird and awkward game state for him. And then on my turn, because I Fallen and Virtuous, I was able to add Branded Fusion. And after Branded Fusion, I just go ham balls to the wall, because he's already so few cards in hand. Because he built all these cards to get these big rituals out, and I super polyed them. And then I said, if he's got the last card in nib, he's got the last card as a nib. And like clockwork, he nibs my board. He's left with the token. I'm left with the rock. And then Gurura I draw into mag. So I'm like, that's amazing. Proceed to end phase. And he's like, cool. I'm like, end phase mag, target to banish. So I banish his Murukumo, his army. Mag to add Druisworm to banish the Kusanagi, because that's how they're going to get the resources going. Banish the Kusanagi. But in actual fact, I should have banished the Futsu at that point, because that would have hurt. But I banished the Kusanagi. And then I go Mirror Jade effect to blow the board up. in the end phase, because I activated when it left with the nib, so I blew his board up. And then I'm like, okay, use I sent the other out, the Albion, used Albion to add another Fallen and Virtuous. And he's just like, yes, this the whole board is gone. He's facing two Bestials. I got Virtuous in hand. And then I just normal summon Lucaeus. I already had Nib, two monsters. He's just got a token. I summon, play a little bit. I pop his token, and then it's just GG's. And then game 5 is where I lost. It was against Ethan, and like game 1, he goes Tachyon to search, and I'm like, I got Ash in my hand, and I'm like, I don't know if I should Ash this Tachyon. So I'm like, oh, it's fine, my bro. Let's see what you're revealing. And he took some time, and then he reveals this card, which adds him a light level 4 or a fairy level 4. And I'm like, if he's playing Ryziel, then I can just Ash the ice. So I'm like, it's fine, add. And he adds Medius the Pure. I'm like, oh, okay, Medius is cracked. And then he normal summons Medius, and I Ash him, and he just sets one and passes turn. But this is where the first issue came up. After he passes turn, he shuffles his deck and then gives it to me to cut. And I'm like, bro, I don't think you're supposed to do that. Because you use Tachyon, and Tachyon you have to put a card on top of the deck, and you didn't search from the deck off the Ash. So now you're not going to draw the card that you put on top for Tachyon. And he's like, oh, no, sorry, man, it's okay. I know exactly what card it was. It was like, he's showing me it's Ash Blossom. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But then he sounds like he opens the deck to take the Ash out, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do now. Because like it's a little bit of an awkward game state, and I don't want to be that guy to like be a stifler on rules and be like, oh, that's a PE minor or whatever that is, especially in the finals. Because we're playing for first, potentially. Well, I'm playing for first. I was the only one undefeated. But I'm like, bro, it's chill. I told him, it's chill. Just let me just keep the Ash there. Let me shuffle, cut, and then put the Ash on top. I'm like, it's okay. It is what it is. And then on my turn, I go Branded Fusion. I'm like, you got the second Ash in hand. He's like, Ash. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Anyway, let me play and kill you. So I go... I go Kit 2 and he Ashed it. And then I'm like, alright, cool. Branded Fusion, Rahu... The whole board came up, and then he just died. And then when he just scooped it up, but he showed me he had Super Poly, and I'm like, he's playing Super Poly, that's interesting. So when he showed me the Super Poly that was set after he scooped it up, I said, I'll try keep the board as far away from Garura as I could, but I'll make the board play harder into the Secretarion, because who really has a 600 Rand Secretarion extra deck Super Poly targets? It's not a card that's you can easily get. So I'm like, okay, cool, let's go. Game 2, I play, and he has this Xyz and this trap that targets and equips to the Xyz, and I'm like, cool. And then he passes turn, so I go normal summon Malulu, effective fuse. And he didn't stop the effective fuse. So I fuse into Artelion. And then his Xyz negates a card in the field or grave. So I said, okay, Artelion targeting this and this to bounce back. And I know I said this. I say, right, Pan 2 to pop, Mululu 3 to negate, Frixel 4. And then he goes chain 5 of this guy to negate the Pan. And negate the Pan and attach the Artelion or attach something. I don't even know. Equip it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then we had a little bit of an issue, like a little bit of miscommunication, and then all of a sudden he's insisting that uh, I went Atelion, Mululu, Pan, this, and I'm like, a Pan, Mululu, I went Mululu, Pan, and then Frixel, and I'm like, I know I didn't. In my mind, I'm like, I'm 1 billion% certain I didn't, because I know I want to negate the card and then pop it. So why would I pop a card and then have nothing to negate? It doesn't make sense from my perspective. I wouldn't do such a misplay. But he's insistent that no, he knows that I went Mululu first and then Pan. Because I was like, with Frixel, I didn't care. Frixel was there to get negated. So we just scratched Frixel out. And then I'm like, at this point, I'm like, it's me and this guy. We got a difference of opinion on a game state. There's no way to us to rectify it or go back. Not like we're on stream, not like we have people watching us and stuff. And me being like the TO of the event and stuff before, because today was my last day, and it was actually a little bit of an event for me, but I didn't want to have that thing in my mouth where I'm like, if I win in this spot, his response is, bro, I would have won it, but he cheated me on the chain links. He's well within his right to say that, because at this point, even though I'm 100% sure, there's still a possibility that maybe it came across wrong or there's a miscommunication. So I said, you know what, bro? If you say it's that, I'm going to take your word on it. I'm not going to say anything, even though we already had this issue with this little mix-up that you had with the Ash no more than half of a minute ago when you had your turn, the previous turn. And I'm like, it's fine, bro. And my logic for that is, if I win there, if the chain link resolves the way I said it, then I know I said it, I win on the spot. Because that's getting negated, that's getting popped. The chap can't do anything because he needs to attach to a monster. It's already too much. It's already game right then and there. And I'm like, normally going into game 2, I don't expect to win unless like something good happens, because they normally build their decks to beat you. So I said, you know what, it's fine. If I lose, at least I know there's a game 3. So I let it slide, and I'm like, bro, if you say that's what it is, then that's what it is. I'm taking your word for it. So I go Pan to pop, and he goes effect to protect itself from destruction once. I'm like, oh, he got that effect now. No wonder my chain link all of a sudden really mattered the way it's supposed to matter. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, my bro. Mululu, negate this thing. I said, right, cool. Set Ketu, set Rahu. Activate Ketu. He chains the trap. I can't add from my deck unless I'm drawing it. I'm like, makes sense. Activate Rahu. He ashed it. I'm like, all of a sudden that whole chain link thing makes a lot more sense now. I said, sure. Anyway, Atelion battle phase. Bang this thing up. I don't even know if I had Atelion. I think even I equipped my Atelion at that point. I don't even remember, bro. But anyway, I'm just like, it is what it is. Pass. And then from that, he OTKs me. And I'm like, it happens. Miscommunication, but it happens. And I don't want people to have a sour taste in their mouth versing me. I've never been that guy to complain. And I know now the story sounds like a case of sour grapes, which I guess it is. But still, again, congratulations to Milland, who won the event and came first. Because the final, if I win, I go first. 5-0 undefeated. First place to 5th, 6th, I don't even know, was all 4-1. So I said, hey, you know what? Is what it is. Go to game 3. Game 3 comes, he floors me. I'm like, lovely stuff. Love to see it. But even though he floors me, I play into the board. I'm forced to play into the board because he activated a few hand traps along the way to make it awkward for me. So I play into the board. The board is quite a big board, quite a devastating board. But he goes to his turn, draw for turn. He goes super poly. And I'm like, sure, I can't respond to that. And he makes Secretarion. I'm like, oh, he does have the 600 Rand target. Again, from my side, zero sweat. I'm not stressing over the Secretarion. He summons. He has 4 summons. I'm like, cool, bro. And he goes, battle phase. I'm like, you, my man. He goes, battle phase. He attacks with the Secretarion. And I'm like, Fallen and Virtuous, pop that thing. Get it out of here. Then he goes, anyway, second attack. Hits with this. I'm like, it's fine. I'll take it. Then he attacks with a Baldric and another card. And I'm like, cool. And then he goes main phase 2. He is trying to play and he's like, pass. And I'm like, end of main, nib. So I nib his board. He's got a token. And he's like, okay, cool. This Doomsday card effect, special summon by popping something. I'm like, okay. So then he's got this Doomsday card and a nib token. And this is where the wheels of the bus fell off for me. I Fallen and Virtuous and I sent. And he goes end phase. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine, end. And then I said, my turn. And then I'm like, as soon as I said my turn, and I put my hand on top to draw, I'm like, foot sack. I already said, it's fine, my turn. And I forgot to use the Albion to add the other Fallen and Virtuous. Because if I add the other Fallen and Virtuous, I can Virtuous target to pop this Xyz. He's going to use its effect to negate, to stop it from being destroyed. I just go nib into it, kill it that way by destruction. And then I can normal summon whatever my normal summon is. And then play from there. I'm like, bro, I've already tilted a little bit at this point with the misplays. And then I draw for turn, it's Lucaris. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. Because if I just use the Fallen, add the Fallen, normal Lucaris effect, add, it's game. It's GG's at that point. It's too much. So I'm like, bro, it is what it is. Normal summon Lucaris effect, Doomsday thing, detach, equip. I'm like, yeah, sure, saw it coming. Then I'm like, battle phase, nib into this thing. He's like, cool, can't be destroyed once. Protects itself. I'm like, yeah, cool, sorry, bro. Make Typhon effect, detach, send the nib token to back because the nib was so huge. And I'm like, pass. And it's going down to like the last few minutes. And I'm like, then he normal summons and he plays. And I'm like, if I take the double loss here, I probably don't win the tournament because my record is 4 with a double loss. But that's 0 points. And then I'm like, if I just take the L, give him the win, he also goes 4-1. But in my mind, my record is 4-0 getting into round 5. I'm the only player at 4-0. So I just told him, take the game, bro. It's fine. It is what it is. I told him, good game, shook his hand and stuff. But when I was talking to James at the end of the tournament, he was like, bro, I would have stood my ground because you had game over there. And I'm like, I've never been that guy. And I don't plan on being him. So that was the tournament. It happens. I didn't get the dub this week. Came second last week, won the previous week. It's kind of sad. Always in the finals, I'm losing. So, yeah. That's it. So the changes I'd like to make, this video is probably, like, what? I don't even know, an hour long? What is it? 39 minutes long. Jeez. Let's go through this real quick. Janitor style, as he says it. Hardest matches are Mitsurugi. End of story. Mitsurugi is a hard match. K9's hard matches. Can't do anything. So with that, so Typhon I've only summoned once. He should be cut. And then Titaniclad I've only summoned once. I could cut. I like everything else. A part of me feels that if I had Sanctifier, I might make space for the Sanctifier, either with Mysterion or the second Albion, but These two, I feel, didn't do enough to warrant their space into the deck. So I would like to do Spirit with Seals. Now, my issue is this. Seals is cracked. I absolutely love this card. Because with Seals, I'm looking to beam out Quackimero, which really hurts so many decks. Low-key, if I summon Quackimero today, I probably won. But Quackimero is a card that I do see myself looking to bring into the deck some way. But my issue is the Spirit. The Spirit, if you're doing the Spirit line, it becomes really awkward because you lose a potential trap card or a potential trap, which at first glance seems like a huge problem. But since I'm always drawing a trap, maybe it's not a problem. But this is something. I also feel like if you're playing Spirit, you should be playing Sanctify to do the Spirit lock on someone. So I am looking into maybe taking these two out, putting these two links in. The alternatives I'm also looking is Chaos and Cross Sheep. If Chaos comes into the deck, then most likely Mysterion comes out of the deck. I just found Mysterion to be too weak of a card that didn't allow me to do a lot or ever. I've never summoned him, but he is a really good card. But I also really like the Cross Sheep. I do think Cross Sheep there is place for Cross Sheep in this deck. But I feel if you are going to play Cross Sheep, you're probably not going to rely on the branded engine so much. So since I'm on the branded engine, Cross Sheep is more or less on the fence to coming out. And then the extra deck will be this. Typhon comes out, Titaniclad comes out, Spirit and Spheres goes in. That's something I could see moving forward. I still don't think Chaos is... It's such a good card, but I just don't see it being used right now. What does this thing do? You can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light or dark monsters used as the materials, destroy them. And if you do, if this card is banished, you can target one level 4 light dragon monster you control. It becomes level 8. We don't care about that part. So this card is always a pop 2. Pop 2 might be something really good to look at. But anyway. Here, these Retaliating Seas are coming out. They're absolutely terrible. I'm going to tell you a little fun fact. If your game plan is draw a Retaliating Sea and you will win, you don't. End of story, you don't. It's the same logic that people had when I was on Malice. Oh, just Lancia them, bro, you'll win. I got Lancia so many times and I still have a very good record with that deck. Most people Lancia me and I still OTK'd them through the Lancia like it wasn't even there. So this deck dies even less to Retaliating Sea than Malice did to Lancia. Don't tell me Retaliating Sea is your win con. Your win con should be Ash and Bell. That's how you win against this deck. Stopping the traps, breaking through their board, limiting their resources. That's how you win. Not activate Retaliating Sea and pray. If your win con is an insect, pro. I don't know. You behind. There's nothing else I can say. So the 3 Retaliating could potentially come out. And I either want to go back into Veiler into the side because I do believe this deck needs a way to stop normal summons and effects. So Veiler definitely right up there for potentially going into the side. I could also look into Mulcharmies. So I could take the 3 Retaliating Sea, go into Mulcharmy and Draco. There's also the Prosperity and Black Goat. I like the Prosby. Just to give my deck a little bit more consistency, a little bit more flexibility in like going first. So I know I'm always seeing a starter. But the problem with Prosby is the cost of Prosperity in this deck is kind of hard. Like, you have to be sure that if your Prospe resolves, you're winning. Because even Prospe for 3 is difficult. It hurts your grind game. It hurts the toolbox of your extra deck. So that's one. And then the other card that I'm thinking can come out, honestly, is Lightning Storms. I never saw them. I never drew them. And then first argument, play 3, bro, you'll see them. Second argument, I sold 1. These things were limited for so long. And then I'm not playing Thrust. I feel if you're playing Prospes, Lightning Storms, Thrust, Dark Rollers, Talents, then you play Thrust package. You have to play a Thrust package to see them. If you're not playing Thrust package and your only answer is hard draw them, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Then other than good luck. So Lightning Storms could come out, which means my extra deck will then look something like this. Let's see how we cook this extra deck. The extra deck will be, we will start with the guarantees. So guaranteed, still guaranteed, because I can't beat Malice, so I'm just going to stop them. If they're going to shift to me, I can Lancia them. If they're going to whatever try to do to me, it's only fair. So these 3, 4, this can come out. 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. So I got space for 3 more. The space for 3 more, I could do this. 2 Molchamis, 1 Mero. Or if I'm not comfortable with that, I could go and do a small Thrust package. But I think Molchamis are this deck's best friend. If I had Meowls, I will definitely be playing Meowls in some way, shape or form. But I probably will do this going forward. I feel this gives me a lot more flexibility in the deck and the way I would like to play it. And then I will cut in the main deck the 1 pan. So the 1 pan will get cut. And then I will main deck the 1 Magnamut to assist in interruption and finding a starter. So I like the way this looks. This is something I can get behind. If I'm going to commit to the Quakimeru, then I have to commit into the Seals and Spirit, which means these 2 are not Cruship. Cruship was never in the deck. Which means that these 2 will probably get cut, the Typhon and that. So thank you guys. Next week I'll be back on the deck. You already know my build. If you're watching my videos, you already know what to expect. I might cut the Quakimeru just as fast as I wanted to put it in, but only time will tell. And yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll have a great day. I hope you're well. And yeah, peace and love, gents. Peace and love.